Good day. This video is for academic purposes only, presenting the compilation for prelim reflection. Rizal's astrological character. Ox people are said to be kind, caring souls, logical, positive, and filled with common sense, and with their feet firmly planted on the ground. I was struck and affected by this sentence because in this chaotic world, we just need to be kind to everyone without restrictions and hesitations. We need caring souls to look everything as beautiful and useful and be positive as we face every challenge in life and take everything as life lessons to be cherished. The societal or sectoral implication is as we look and turn something into positive, the results also will be positive. So everyone, let's hold everyone's hand and together we'll fight against negativity as we grow perfectly imperfect. Rizal's achievements. Being discussed here was all about Rizal's achievements, and some authors claim that Jose P. Rizal was a genius, an architect, an artist, businessman, cartoonist, educator, economist, ethnologist, scientific farmer, historian, inventor, journalist, linguist, musician, mythologist, nationalist, naturalist, novelist, ophthalmic surgeon, painter, physician surgeon, poet, propagandist, psychologist, scientist, sculptor, sociologist, and theologian. I am so amazed at the same time flattered because of his numerous achievements. It is stated here that Rizal was a businessman, and I see myself that one day I will become a businesswoman who will motivate those people on how to become a good entrepreneur someday. I will mold them and guide them, those people, they don't have a stable job to sustain their needs. Rizal's genealogy. Mercado, the original name of the Rizals, which means market, was adopted by the Rizal's paternal ancestor Domingo Lamco to free his descendants from the anti-Chinese hostility of the Spanish authorities. Jose Rizal's material great-great-grandfather was Eugenio Yorsua, a Japanese Catholic who settled in the Philippines to elude persecution in Japan. These sentences open my mind that our national hero have a Chinese and Japanese blood. These sentences struck me because all my life I always believed that the genealogy of Rizal is purely native Filipino. I can say that the Rizal's ancestors are brilliant because they changed their surname to get free from the anti-Chinese hostility of the Spanish authorities. I admire them because their capabilities to think are high, and even if they are rich, but still they have a pure heart. Rizal's parents' new surname. On Francisco Mercado's adoption of the surname Rizal in 1850 was a result of Governor-General Narciso Z. Claveria decree that all Filipinos must adopt a Spanish surname. Likewise, the adoption can be attributed to the climate of fear and suspension. I connect this topic to the issue of Senator Grace Poe's citizenship as she ran the 2016 presidential election. The surname of Rizal in 1850 based on the decree that all Filipinos must adopt a Spanish surname to avoid suspension by the Spanish authorities. I will connect it in the case of Senator Grace Poe. According to what I heard in the national television, some politicians and leaders stated that Senator Poe cannot run for president because she has an American citizenship, but later on, she was still running for president because she proves to the government that she is a natural-born Filipino. So like in the Rizal surname, she changed it to avoid suspension, and Poe also changed his American citizenship to Filipino citizenship so that she can run for president. Rizal's family of Principalia. His mother, Doña Teodora, who exerted a powerful influence on Jose Rizal's intellectual development, was educated at the Colegio de Santa Rosa de Quilla from 1993 to 16. I was stricken and affected by this sentence because our parents, especially our mothers, are the first and best teacher at home. I admired Jose Rizal because he has a great mother who taught him unconditionally. To all daughters and sons out there, respect your parents like how you respect and value yourselves. Remember that they are the one who mold and shape us to be a better person. They are the one who give us knowledge and understanding about something. They are patient in explaining and answering our questions when we are young and curious about things. They are the one who take good care to us when everybody doesn't care. They give their full time and attention when we need them. No matter what happened, they are our parents and no one can ever replace it. Siblings of Jose Rizal. Being discussed here are all about the 9 daughters and 2 sons, a total of 11, of Don Francisco and Doña Teodora marriage. Something that I can see myself here is that I have 3 sisters and 7 brothers, wherein all 10. Just like Rizal, I also have many siblings. But the difference was that Jose Rizal born in a golden spoon. They are rich, while us are poor but have a simple and happy feeling or way of living. Some people say that it is really hard to build and sustain if you have a big family to feed, but in our case, there are instances that we cannot buy and afford our wants and desires in life. But I humbly say that we live in a simple family but full of love and care. A credit to intellectual greatness. Rizal's intellectual fame and greatness were usually attributed on 3 factors. First, hereditary, second, environmental, and third, gift from God. Jose Rizal inherited the qualities of his ancestors and parents. The scenic beauties of Calamba stimulated the inborn artistic and literary talents of Jose Rizal. God endowed Rizal with adaptable aptness of a prodigy. I agree to this that our greatness in academics and talents attributed from our ancestors, and especially it is a gift of God. Like in the case of Leslie Lemke, a musical virtuoso, even though he has never had music lesson in his life, his musical genius erupted so early and spontaneously as an infant that it could not possibly have been learned. It came factory installed, who has innate access to the vast syntax and rules of art, mathematics, music, and even language in the absence of any formal training and in the presence of major disability, genetic memory, according to Scientific American Arabic on 2020. This issue affected me as a student because at some point I learned that our ancestors have an impact to our development. Amidst inferiority, complex, and dilemma. He was often described as a very thin child with a disproportionately big head, and his sisters always teased him because of his frail body. I was stricken and affected by this line because when I was a kid until now that I am 27 years of age, people around me, especially my classmates, always tease me like how they tease Jose Rizal. They call me as thick because of my thin body and tall physique. The societal and sectoral implication would be, if that certain child doesn't wanted someone teasing them, it would result in undesirable outcomes. Teasing might lead to bullying, like at first, it is okay to me that my classmates teasing me, but as I grow and heard it every day, I felt bad because I think they are making fun with me. Jose Rizal's education. Being discussed here was all about Jose Rizal as a student at home. I can say that Jose Rizal is a brilliant child because at the age of 3, he already knew the alphabet. At age 4, Rizal molded wax and clay figures, and at age 5, he drew pictures and used the natural colors of the fruits, vegetables, and even food. Something that I can hear is that my mom said that I had already they start to thought like counting from 1 to 10 and knowing alphabet at the age 4, but I can comprehend it well, and they saw that if I am not interested at all, I feel flattered because at a young age, I can say that Jose Rizal excels in different fields. He was not just a genius, but a talented kid also. Jesuit education. Being discussed here was all about how excellent Jose Rizal in academics. It was stated that he graduated with a grade of sobresaliente, not equivalent to the present-day valedictorian. Basing on the achievements that he got, I can say that was a brilliant student and the same diligent. I am not smart like Jose Rizal, but something that I saw in my life is being a diligent student. I am not good in academics like Jose Rizal, but I know that one day I will be a successful person because of my courage, hard work, and strong determination. My commitment and dedication will bring me to a better person and successful person. Second, Dominican education. As a graduate of AB, Jose Rizal was then qualified to get a university education. Doña Teodora did not want him to study more. She feared that education would shorten his son's life. I will relate this topic to my personal issue in our family like Doña Teodora, who wanted to stop Jose Rizal to study more because she was afraid that education would end her son's life. I will relate it to the story of my dad. According to him, that his parents wanted to stop him to study because they are lack in resources. My dad wanted to study more, but he can't sustain his education alone. The difference here was that Jose Rizal still pursues to study more despite the objections of his mother, unlike to my dad, who followed the order of his parents and can fight his dreams. It is affect me as a student because I realize that sometimes even if how we pursue many things, we can still have them. We can still have them because of some instances. That's why I admire Jose Rizal's braveness because despite that her mother disagrees, he still chased his dreams in life. Peninsular Spanish education. A brilliant student, he soon became the leader of the small community of Filipino students and committed to the reform of Spanish rule in the Philippines. I was affected and stricken by this sentence because as I observed that even as Rizal studied in Spain, he was still forgotten his home. He was still a hero who was brave that fight against the religious orders such as the Franciscan, Augustinian, and Dominican friars who caused the Philippines political and economic paralysis. The societal and sectoral implication for me was that we Filipinos, even if how far we are, we shouldn't forgotten where we came from. We will fight against those people who abuse their power, especially in today's generation, where some of the politicians are corrupt and use their power for their own good. We should not afraid to raise our voices against to them. Pragmatic education apprenticeship. Being discussed here was all about Jose Rizal's part-time job when he was still pursuing ophthalmology. He worked in many clinics and I admitted that he was a hard-working student, even if he has limited allowance, but his desire to learn more about eye ailments and more practice in retinal cases are still his priority. Something that I can see myself here is that same with Jose Rizal. I have big dreams in life, even if life is hard, still have the guts to pursue my dreams. Because I know that my strong determination, courage, commitment, and diligence will bring me to a successful living in the near future. I want to be like Rizal, that despite the circumstances that he faced, he has still proved that those instances were not the hindrance in achieving his goals and reaching his dreams in life. Noli Me Tangere, Unexposed of Societal Ills. The novel also illustrated characters from all social levels, the rich and the educated against the poor and the uneducated, the intellectual against the ignorant, the lawful against the lawless. All of these characters became victims of religion and government, but mostly of religion. It unfolds the theme greed for power. Jose Rizal wrote this novel as an eye-opener to those Filipinos who are victims by religion and government authorities. I connect it to Aung San Suu Kyi She was once seen as a big beacon for universal human rights, a principled activist willing to give up her freedom to stand up to the ruthless army generals who ruled Myanmar for decades. It has affected me as a student because it's inspired me to fight and stand against those people who abuses their power, like Jose Rizal and Aung San Suu Kyi. The fight for their rights using non-violence movements. They really prove that pen together with our voice is stronger than gun. Suspected as a French spy in Germany. Due to Rizal's explanation, his mastery of the German language and personal charisma, the chief of police allowed Rizal to stay freely in Germany. I was affected and struck in the sentence because I am amazed about how genius Jose Rizal was when he was a difficult situation. His capabilities to think are high to the point that he can find ways and solutions to his problems. The societal and sectoral implication for me were that sometimes our knowledge and learning will solve our problem. Like Jose Rizal, because of his mastery in German language, the police allowed him to stay freely in Germany. Homecoming, its happiness and disappointments. Being discussed here was all about Jose Rizal homecoming. Mostly of the people were happy seeing Rizal, although there are some people who doesn't wanted to talk to Rizal. I felt flattered and at the same time happy because he gave free medical consultation with the poor. He also established a gymnasium where he introduced gymnastics, fencing, and shooting. He was able to attract away his townmates from gambling and cockfighting. On the other side, I still felt sad because some of the powerful authorities issued a statement prohibiting the possession and reading of the Noli in the Philippines. He even attracted many enemies because of his novel, and the commission found that novel containing subversive ideas. It recommended for the banning of the Noli from importation, reproduction, and circulation. In the land of the rising sun. In Japan, Rizal learned Nihongo and used it so well. He also attentively studied Japanese theater. Rizal commented that Japan would become an industrial country someday. Rizal was impressed by the beauty of the country, the cleanliness, politeness, and industry of its people, the simple charm and picturesque dress of its women, and the relatively absence of thieves and beggars. I was struck and affected by these sentences because, as I noticed, Sir Rizal was correct and commented that Japan would become an industrial country, and he was true because in the current years, Japan is a highly industrialized country. The societal and sectoral implication would, if what Jose Rizal saw in Japan, like the cleanliness, politeness, and the absence of thieves and beggars, apply it in the Philippines, I think we would also have an amazing nation. American tour en route to London. When Jose Rizal was staying in America, he noticed that there was a lack of racial equality between the whites and the blacks, and that freedom is only for the whites. He deplored the American prejudice against Asians and African Americans and was especially appalled by the ban against interracial marriages in some states. Rizal observed that the rights are for white people only. I will relate it to the issue of George Floyd. A 46-year-old African American man died in Minneapolis on Monday after being handcuffed and pinned to the ground by Derek Chauvin, a white police officer. Bystanders captured video of the officer behind a police car using his knee to pin Mr. Floyd by his neck. George Floyd's sudden death resulted in thousands of activist rallies in different states of America and stated that Black Lives Matters. It has affected me as a student, and I felt sad because even before, the white people always felt that they superior than black people. There are still racial discrimination between the white and black people, but on the other hand, I am happy because even if there are still discriminating in terms in color, but the people fight for it regarding these issues. The London quest being discussed here was all about the life happening of Mr. Rizal when he was staying in London to improve his knowledge of the English language. Rizal, like England, its system, punctuality, and seriousness of purpose and respect for traditions. Something that I can see myself here is like Rizal whenever I visit other places. I truly respect their traditions or anything that is related to them, just like what Rizal do when he was staying in London. Stay in continental Europe. During his stay in Paris, he continued his creative, artistic, literary, and patriotic undertakings. He also published his annotated edition of Morgan's successes. He wanted the Filipinos and the foreigners to read the book so that they will know that the Filipinos were already civilized before the arrival of the Spanish colonizers. I was struck and affected by these sentences because I felt that Jose Rizal really loved the Philippines. Even if he was staying in other countries, his heart and mind are still loyal to the Philippines and published many books about the lives of Filipino people before Spanish colonialism. The societal and sectoral implication would, if we think and act like Rizal, no one can invade our home if we have the courage and unity to fight against those Spanish authorities. We will conquer those invaders and stop their ruling easily. The displacement in Calamba. Being discussed here was all about the suffering of the family of Jose Rizal. Their relatives and townmates were evicted from Calamba, Dominican states. The results, including about 30 families, were given 24 hours to demolish their houses and vacate the town. Some of them are deported and displaced in the other towns. I don't see anything like this because in my life, I don't witness something like this, but still I felt bad and sad for the relatives and townmates of Rizal because they need to leave their homes, and I think adjustment for them was hard. Frustrations and intrigues in Madrid. Rizal's parents in Madrid inevitably created jealousy between him and Del Pilar for the leadership of the reform movement in Madrid. Thus, there existed an unfortunate rivalry regarding the responsible of the Filipino colony. Rizal's thought, developing far more rapidly than that of his Filipino colleagues, brought him into conflict with Marcelo H. Del Pilar. I was affected and struck by these sentences, and I felt sad because even before, as Filipinos did have unity, like in this case, Rizal seeking help to his co-Filipinos in Madrid, but its presence created only a jealousy between him and Del Pilar and thought who would be the best leader between him and Del Pilar. I think the societal and sectoral implications are if we have unity in every battle we made, we will conquer everything we wanted. We will win every fight we face. El filibusterismo agent provocator. Being discussed here was all about the sequel of Novelle Metangere, which was to enlighten the reader and expose the corruption and injustice exist in the society. He wanted to open the mind of Filipino citizens about the bad treatments of the authorities. Rizal wanted to reveal about the Filipino social stratification, ideas, education, and etc. I felt his high courage and hard work to open the mind of the Filipino and fight against those authorities abusing their power. Something that if I can see myself here, just like Rizal, I am willing to take risks just to pursue my plan. Even if sometimes life is hard, I will still go and fight for it, especially to those things that are important to me. Reunited family in Hong Kong. On March 11, 1892, Rizal received a duplicate copy of his licentiate in medicine. This allowed him to practice his medical profession in Hong Kong. I was shocked and affected by these sentences because I really admired how Dr. Jose Rizal takes good care towards his profession. Even if how far away country he stays, his professions are still staying with him. I can say that Rizal give importance to education because even if he stays in Hong Kong, he was still willing to learn. The societal or sectoral implication for me were that as a student, it is crucial to give importance to education. I hope that we learn in school. We should apply it in the reality of life. We should not forget about what we learn. Instead, we will mold and shape it better. Angst in Plundered Paradise. Lucia and Jose Rizal boarding Don Juan left Hong Kong for Manila on June 21, 1892. On the same day, a secret case was filed in Manila against Rizal for his anti-religious and anti-government campaign. I believe that Rizal fight are just right and there was no wrong with it, but since The powerful authorities thought that Rizal was a threat, so they just made something that would use against Rizal that will make the people believe. I will relate it to the issue of Imelda and Manyoma living in Colombia who killed together with her husband fighting their rights. The mining company wanted to buy their land, but she did not agree because she knew already that the person who will buy it will use it for something which is not good. It is affect me as a student because I realize that sometimes even if we fight for what is right, we still cannot guarantee our security. But still, we need to fight for it even if our life is in danger, as long as our fight is just. That's all for the prelim reflection.